Hello everyone, Pretender Prowl is here with another custom ideas video. I'm going to try to make a series of these videos. I'm going to try to do one every week. Just one figure per video. Well, maybe in the future I'll do groups. But this time, for this particular episode, I'm going to do Hellboy. This is the Mega Construx Mega Heroes Hellboy. It is, I believe, based on the comic book. Not a bad figure. It's got the tail. Has that extra piece here for the tail attachment. Makes it different than the other molds. It's also part of the short leg molds. This came out before Masters, I believe. And I think this came out right around when He-Man and Man-at-Arms were coming out. Right when Mega Construx was just doing the Heroes line. So anyway, I'm going to make this in two different styles. I'm going to make what I call this is what I call the comic book rendition. There's also a animated rendition that we can make, and then finally the movie version. I like all the Hellboy movies, but I prefer the Ron Perlman. Anyway, so to make this figure, I'm going to show you the donors we're going to use. We're going to need a Mega Construx Fisto from the Cliff Climber. We're going to need the Mutagen Raphael figure. And then we're going to need any other Mega Construx figure that just has the black legs. Now this is a knockoff Mega Construx figure. I believe the company is called Yaibabo or Yaibabo. It doesn't matter what kind you get as long as you have the black pants that have the boots. So the first thing we're going to do is take off the pieces that we do not need for Hellboy. For the animated version, we do not need the upper portions of the arms at all. We just need the lower portions. But we need everything else. First piece we need is donated by the Mutagen Canister Raphael. Basically, we need the trench coat. That's all we need. But because this is part of the mutations line, or the mutation canister line, it's not going to affect the figure all too much. We just need the trench coat. The canister line has alternate arms for the Raphael. Take these arms off. We do not need the hands. And of course, we don't need the shell. So by the time we're done with the other pieces of the canister, you'll still have a complete Raphael figure. You just won't have the trench coat. Now, right now at the filming of this video, the mutation canister is pretty expensive. It's been discontinued for a long time. I think the cheapest I've seen it is like $30 maybe. So you don't necessarily have to use this version of the trench coat. This just matches the color. There are other Mega Construx trench coats you can use. On the trench coat, this is how it usually comes, but you're going to need to cut a little bit. You need to cut this so it's a straight line, because the tail, Hellboy's tail, pulls on that coat, and it causes the coat to pull off his shoulders a little bit. So you're going to need to cut that little connection right there, so we don't have it pulling on the coat. For the animated version, you're just going to put the lower arms of Hellboy onto the upper arms of the Raphael trench coat. And there you have the animated version of Hellboy. I've seen the animated version with a rolled up sleeve. And he still has the little biker shorts, whatever that is, on. There's your animated version. The animated version also keeps the bare chest look. For the movie version, we need the Cliff Climber Fisto and the Mega Construx figure, which I use the Yaibobo knockoff. For Fisto, all we need is the chest piece. And for the Construx figure, you know, your basic Call of Duty Construx figure or Yaibobo figure, we just need the legs. That involves you having a legless figure for parts. The movie version of Hellboy in his trench coat, the Ron Perlman version, the trench coat on the left arm goes all the way down to the cuff. He doesn't roll it up as much. So we need a complete arm from the Raphael mutagen container. We're now going to take the shorts off of Hellboy. But we're not going to take the chest piece off completely for that. Basically, all you need to do, let's get the tail out of the way for just a second, is just swap the legs. Because you cannot take the waist piece from the knockoff figure or the Mega Construx figure because Hellboy has that peg on the back for his tail. We're going to take the chest piece off and replace it with the Fisto one. We're using the Fisto one because it's naturally black and it has that muscular look. A note, something I'm going to do, is the belt piece for Hellboy. It's not really painted all that great to me. Maybe it's just mine. I am going to go over this belt with more brown, make it more complete. But for this video, I'm just going to show you without the paint. And there we have movie version for Hellboy. The older Mega Construx figures, like the Star Trek figures, Futurama figures, X-Files, and pretty much all the Halo figures had those shorter legs. So I like how we can do a leg swap and make him look a little taller, because Hellboy's a big boy. I got my Mega Construx Hellboy figure loose, so I didn't get the gun. So the gun I have chosen for him is your Lego, I believe this is the Special Agent's gun or a laser gun of some sort. And of course, because it's Lego, it's a little bit bigger for the hole, but his fist is very adaptable. It's actually super, super tight because the Lego gun is actually bigger than his hand. I might do a little bit of paint on that. I'm not sure. Usually I don't like to paint the weapons all that much because that way when you're trying to maneuver the guy and do stuff with him, the paint rubs off. I've painted some weapons, but not many. But there is the custom Hellboy. So, a lot of people don't like painting their figures because when you play with them, the paint wears off if you're not too careful. But I'll show you what I did. So for the red, I used Insignia Red Model Masters, and I also found some Cardinal Crimson acrylic. So for the stone parts, I call them stone parts because they look like stone. That's going to be Hellboy's big hand and his the broken horns. What I did was I went over the whole hand with the Model Masters paint, and then I took the acrylic and just went over these stone rings and the knuckles just to make them stand out. it's probably a little difficult to see. It just gives it a little definition. I did it on the horns as well up here. That might be a little harder to see. Just makes it stand out from the rest of the mold, because the entire figure was molded in the same red. While I was painting, I decided to add pupils to Hellboy's eyes. I kind of messed up on this eye here. I might try to scrape that off with a X-Acto knife, or I just say, nah, doesn't matter. Also went over his beard and his little goatee with some black. Then I took the belt and just went over it with a brown, trying to leave that red dot on there. I might try to go ahead and just repaint that red dot. I believe the belt goes this way if I'm not mistaken. To add some texture while your belt is drying, you could try touching it a little bit. Your fingerprints will add some wear and tear definition to your to the brown. Here's the painted version. So with the belt and the eyes. Okay, while I was editing the video and watching some Hellboy footage, I decided that I wasn't satisfied with the gun. I recommend that you use the gun if you don't feel like painting a gun. That space gun looks okay. But for me, I wanted something a little bit more outlandish. So what I did was I took a Creo G.I. Joe gun that has like a chamber to it, and I added a Lego binoculars to it. When you do some trimming and put those pieces together and a little bit of paint, this is the end result. I left the handle black for two reasons. A, it shows definition to the handle in contrast to the rest of the gun. And B, I won't worry about paint getting all messed up on hand when he uses it. The binoculars give a gap in the middle, not usually found in the Samaritan, but I don't want to make any changes to it because I'm worried I'm going to mess it up. I'm much more satisfied with this version of his gun, the Samaritan, than the other one. But the other one's okay if you don't feel like doing a custom, because just to make this gun alone took me almost an hour with the paint and the glue and trimming and all that stuff. So it's something you can do. And here is the final painted version of the Mega Construx custom movie version of Hellboy. As I said before, I plan on doing a custom video once a week, at least until the end of the year. That's my attempt. I have other customs to make. I have some that are already done. I'm trying to focus on customs that you guys could do if you have the parts. I do have some more elaborate customs that might be, the end result would be a little bit more different. But I do have some tips and tricks on how to do other customs. Thank you to all my subscribers. Please subscribe to my channel. Thank you so much for watching. And everyone, take care and be safe out there.
Thanks a lot for watching the video. Everybody, be good to each other out there. And, don't be a bully to nobody. Because if you are, and I find out, I won't like you. And then, you won't like me.